Hey team, hope you are enjoying your week. Despite what social media says, we are still having church this week, even though the elections went the way they did. We're not canceling the world, so we are going to be meeting on Sunday. So just a few things I wanted to share with you. A lot of information, so I just want to share a bunch of it with you today. The first is that we're starting a new series, and it's going to be focused on grace, and we're going to be doing baptism the next 2 weeks. And so just be praying for the people getting baptized and for baptism as a whole. A lot of people here that we want them to not just take this next step and make this public declaration, but we want them to get into our community. That's one of the things that truthfully bugs me the most about baptism is there's so much to celebrate, but then you see this person have this great celebration moment and then you never see them again. And it drives me bonkers. Especially being the Next Steps director, I'll reach out to them at some point and you never hear back. And I'm not saying that's our fault. Sometimes people just don't want to get connected. But so I pray that people get connected. And I ask that you guys pray that, hey, the people who are making this step, get them connected. God, bring them into your community. That's our prayer. Bring these people to your community and help them realize that's the best thing they could be doing. But so we have baptism week coming up. But then just some information I wanted to share with you guys going through. First, one of our big wins for every single team is that a half hour till service, we are all in positions and ready to go. I've noticed that over the course of, since we've been here, and there's always a struggle, especially for the 9 a.m. at 8:30. It seems like we're still, we're just now meeting, or people are still running around. And then about like 8:35 to 8:38, we're finally able to get our teams out to where they need to be. So our big goal moving forward, I want to just focus just very logistically on what can we do to make sure by a half an hour before service our teams are ready to go, because I want to give you guys that 10-15 minutes of connection time. You guys need to have that in your teams to where you can just talk and you can share and you can pray together and you can build that community with your teams, but then that we're also able to get out and be effective within our team so that everyone here is able to have the best experience. We're able to make every single person feel welcome, engaged, and valued. And we're able to show every single person who Jesus is by our serving teams. One of the things I thought of, and I was talking to Kara about it, is kids check-in. I know a lot of us have kids that, for volunteers, where we check our kids in and then we get over to our team, and so sometimes that makes us run late. Well, one thing I was talking to her about was possibly having the team meeting, the team prayer, and then going and checking our kids in. That way, you guys can all meet together as a team, and then you can get yourself into positions, and there's one or two who are checking their kids in. But for the majority, the rest are able to be in their spot ready to go, instead of waiting for those one or two to get started for your meeting, and then at then you're about 5-6 minutes late. So just a real quick thing, just a reordering. So what I'm asking is, if you guys have people with kids on your teams, have them wait to check their kid in until after the meeting. So if that means their kid is in the meeting with them, awesome. Then they can pray with their kid. Their kid can be there also praying. But then after that, then they can go check them in, then they can get back to their spot. If that doesn't work, that's okay. We're just going to try it out just to see if we can get running just a little bit faster right away, even though there's not a lot of people that show up right away at 8:30. Whenever there is, if we're not ready to receive them, it's always kind of this weird, awkward moment. And so we just want to make sure by 8:30, even if one person happens to show up, we're ready to be there and receive them and show them who Jesus is. So one of the other things I thought about was you have somebody who is in charge of texting. You have put somebody in charge of texting, the whole team. Well, maybe you could ask that same person or somebody else, hey, will you be in charge of making sure everyone's here in the meeting on time? So, that means like running back to Volunteer Central at 8:20, if anyone's back there gathering up, being like, hey, we're heading, we're going to meet right now. If they're checking their kid in, being like, hey, we're going to quick grab you, we're going to meet right now. If they're in the coffee venue chatting, just put somebody in charge of rounding your team up and saying, hey, we're going to go meet now. That way we can get everything going right away. That, again, it just makes your team more intentional. It kind of moves everything along a little bit faster, but then you give somebody else a little more responsibility so you can tell them, hey, you're in charge of making sure everyone's here. It's not a huge deal, but what you're doing matters. And that's one of the big things we want to communicate is this job that I've given you matters. We need this in order to be an effective team. In order to be an effective team, we need somebody texting everyone saying, hey, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. In order to be an effective team, we need somebody making sure everyone's at the meeting ready to go by the time the meeting is ready to start. That way, everything else is running smooth. And so this week, I would love if you guys talk to people on your team and say, hey, will you be in charge of making sure everybody is around and ready to go? Moving on, Christmas is coming up apparently, and we have 4 services set over here at East. There's one on the 23rd at 6 p.m. and then 3 on Christmas Eve at 1, 3, and 5. And so we are going to start promoting those soon, which means we need 2 weekends worth of volunteers here on Friday and Saturdays. If they want to serve one, if they want to serve all of them, awesome. But start recruiting team members and ask them, do you guys want to serve now? And if anyone's willing to say, yeah, I can do that, just go ahead and write their name down so we can start plugging them in. And then next week I'll probably send an email out. But we just want to start promoting that now. It's coming up. There's a ton of people that show up for Christmas. It's like the Super Bowl for the church season. And so we just want to make sure we are on the top of our game for all of the people who are going to be showing up. 4 services, I'm terrible at math, 4 services in 2 days at East. It's going to be pretty awesome to see how it works. We're hoping it's filled. We're starting to sell the tickets soon, but we just want to make sure as far as next steps and guest services, we are completely prepared to handle however many people God brings us. Finally, for information, we are doing again the Pie and Ice Cream Social, and that's going to be the second Sunday in December. I believe it's around like the 10th or the 13th, somewhere around there. It's before school gets out, but it's the second Sunday. It's going to be at 7 o'clock, pie and ice cream. You can start promoting that. We're going to be doing a pie judging contest and a pie eating contest, and so start inviting people to that. I'll send emails out for that also. But anyone who wants to be involved in the pie judging contest, if they want to make pies, if they want to just make pies to bring, that's awesome. We're going to have, I believe, hot cocoa and apple cider also. I think my wife is in charge of all that stuff. I'm terrible at logistics, and she loves it. But we just want to take this time to say, hey guys, we appreciate everything you do. So not just to thank you, but as a community, we just want to come together and hang out, even if it's for an hour and a half. Just outside of serving together, we just want to come and spend some time getting to know one another a little bit better and just being a community together. And so I thought, we've had a lot of people ask, and so what a perfect way before the craziness of the holidays start, just to get together. And so that's going to be coming up second Sunday in December. Finally, as we continue to move into baptism, I want you guys to be praying for something, and I shared this with the prayer team also, and that is, what are we doing to equip the next generation? I look at our prayer team, and I just see so much knowledge that they all have, and I realize that I have a lot to learn from them. And so in my mind, I'm kind of selfishly saying, like, man, I hope they teach me stuff. But it's also made me realize that there's a lot of people like me who don't know a whole lot that need to know a whole lot. And so I want you guys to begin praying about, hey, who can I invest in personally? Maybe it's somebody on my team. Maybe it's in a small group, which I know somebody you're in. Some of you are already investing in people. But I want you guys to be praying that God puts somebody in your life that you need to invest in. We should always be investing in people. And so just as a challenge, I've been praying that God puts people in my life that I can invest in, that I can equip for when I'm gone. And I've already seen Him start to put people in my life that I think I can help. Who knows if I actually can or not. But just so be praying, because there's so many people here that need the wisdom you guys have, whether you think so or not. They do. They need the knowledge that you know, and so be praying that they show up. But that's all I have for you guys. Sorry it's so long. I ramble a lot. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'm so excited to serve with you. I'm so excited for baptism. I'm not excited for the Vikings, but it could be worse. But all right, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you soon.